Hello, CSU Masters of Counseling students. My name is Chris Pelletier, and I am a private practitioner down here in South Fort Collins. I am a potential internship site for you. I just wanted to take a brief couple of minutes to introduce myself, talk about my personal clinical style, my supervisory experience, my supervisory style, and also just kind of my broad strokes vision for a potential internship. So first and foremost, I have been in the mental health field since graduating from a KCREP program at the University of Nebraska, Omaha, back in 2013. Good Lord. And in that time, since, I've worked at a lot of different places. I have worked in-home, I've worked in offices, I've worked for really, really big community mental health agencies, I've worked for really small community mental health agencies, and also for the last 5 years, I've worked for myself. And so primarily my clinical style, my clinical modality, kind of more or less leans into dialectical behavioral therapy as kind of my primary approach for my clients, and motivational interviewing as just kind of a means of the persona and the style that I bring to the clinical space. Beyond that, I've received training in some play therapy, trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, attachment-focused family therapy. I'm sure probably a whole lot of other ones that I have forgotten or I'm not thinking of right now, but I've kind of got a pretty wide breadth of knowledge, and in this time since entering the field, I have actually supervised 3 different interns at a previous employer down in Longmont. 2 of those interns were primarily play therapists. The 3rd intern was primarily an art therapist. And so I certainly don't feel like I have to find somebody who wants to utilize my modalities. Instead, my goal and my perspective on the supervisory role is to get to know what modalities interest you, what approaches interest you, and help you facilitate growth and learning and personal development in those clinical approaches. And also, with that being said, I mean, like I said, I've been through a KCREP program. I know what you go through just to graduate and get to, or not even graduate yet, but get to the internship phase of those programs. And so I know that you're already coming in with a ton of really excellent experience and knowledge. And so kind of my hope, my goal of the supervisory role is to instead kind of teach you more of the nuts and bolts day-to-day aspects of the clinical space. So less about your modality, more about just kind of training your decision making. How do you solve problems when you run into sticking points with clients or feel misalignment? How do you challenge yourself to dig deep and come up with creative and empowering approaches that can help kind of push through any would-be roadblocks that you might run into with clients, those sorts of things. And then also beyond that, my goal is to help create longevity within your career. One thing that I did make sure that I talked with Dr. Roper about is just kind of my core vision of the therapeutic space and the fact that we're dealing with way too much burnout. Everybody talks about burnout. Everybody knows that it's a serious thing, but there's not a whole lot of tangible training and support for embodying, a healthy work-life balance. And like I told Dr. Roper, there's just way too much need these days. We can't afford to have talented therapists leaving the field. Like my goal is to help you set yourself up for a career that is both personally fulfilling and well suited to your personal style so that you can maintain longevity in this field and help a ton of people, which I suppose is probably why you started in this field. So hopefully that's in alignment with your goals. And then kind of the other aspect of the supervisory experience, one thing that you'll notice is, unfortunately, this internship is unpaid. I know a lot of places are starting to pay for internships. I think that's awesome. I think that's wonderful. As a small business and as a just single person entity, I unfortunately don't have the capacity right now to offer a paid internship and all that goes in with that. And so instead, my vision is to hopefully help create something that is worthwhile long-term enough to forego kind of deciding on to go with one of those paid internships. And what I mean by that is not just helping to train you to be a proficient and beneficial counselor to your clients. I'm also hoping to find interns that are interested in being self-employed, in running their own private practice from day one. And so what I mean by that is, as soon as you graduate, this caseload that you build here, this rapport that you've already started with your clients, my intention is to just hand that caseload off with you. If you head off, start your own practice, do your own thing, those are your clients. If you want to continue the supervisory relationship with me, which fingers crossed you would feel safe enough and trusting enough to want to do that, but I would, we'd just figure out a way so that you can continue practicing under my license, but ultimately now that's your caseload, that's your income, that is your practice that you take with you, and you're already starting off heads and shoulders above where most folks start when they enter into private practice. And so my intention, my hope with that is to not just hand off that caseload, but also teach you all that goes into that. How do you set up an LLC or S Corp? How do you get yourself ready to pay those quarterly taxes? How do you personally bill insurance or bill clients directly? How do you make those sort of choices? How do you kind of set up a practice that is able to allow you to earn a comfortable and personally empowering living while also being ethically built and facilitative of healthy and good relationships with all of your clients. And so my intention with that is while your time here with me may be unpaid, what you wind up finding is that you're slingshotting yourself into entering the clinical space and into your career already ahead of where some of your other peers may be beginning. That's kind of my scope, that's kind of my intention, that's kind of the way that I'm setting things up. Beyond that, I do have 2 office spaces, which I will be cutting to at the end of this video. I'll only be showing you the first one. That's the one that's set up. That's the one that I'm in now. That's the one that I work out of day in and day out. But I actually do work from home a couple of days a week, and I don't see clients on Fridays. And so this office space is available a decent bit. But then across the hall, I rented a second office space that will be completely yours. You can conduct yourself in that space as if it was your own office, as if you were already running your own private practice, but knowing that I'm right across the hall, or I'm just a phone call or a text or an email away to provide support when that's needed. So if this sounds interesting to you, if this sounds worth kind of digging into further, or you'd like to get to know more about me, my clinical style, my supervisory style, my vision, kind of anything that I can elaborate on further, or if you're just like, heck yeah, this sounds like what I'm looking for, feel free to shoot me a call, shoot me an email, shoot me a text. I'm happy to answer any and all questions you may have. I will also make sure that Dr. Roper has my web address as well, where I intend to write a blog post kind of detailing a little bit more, kind of more or less going over these same sort of things, but offering a little bit more depth, because I know I'm already being long-winded enough. But yeah, if this sounds interesting to you, if this sounds like something that you might consider as a worthwhile and important option for you, get in touch. Let's see if we're the right fit. Let's see if we gel together, and I'd be happy to meet and discuss and dive in further. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you.